Good morning all. Today we're going to be looking at Ruth. So her story is found in the book of Ruth, and what an incredible story it is. And I really believe that there is much that God can teach us through the story of her life. And that is the reason why he has mentioned her again in Matthew 1, when he looks at all the different people that came before Jesus Christ. Naomi, Ruth's mother-in-law, and her husband Elimelech had moved to Moab, where their two sons had married Moabite women, Ruth being one of them. Naomi's husband and sons die, and Naomi is left with just her daughters-in-law and herself. And her other daughter-in-law was Orpah, so it was Orpah and Ruth and Naomi. Now, the future when you were a widow did not look very good for you, as men were needed to provide and guarantee stability and income and protection. So Naomi says to Orpah and Ruth that there's nothing more I can offer you, and she encourages them to go back to their families and to get remarried. Orpah goes off and Ruth stays, and I want to read to you what she says to Naomi. Don't ask me to leave you and turn back. Wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you live, I will live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. What a powerful statement to make, and it's often we will hear the scripture mentioned, but I want to look at this and just say, what was it that she saw in Naomi that caused her heart to be so loyal to her? I don't think it's a big jump to say that it was God. It was God in Naomi. It was the living, true God that she discovered that caused her to hold on to that relationship and to be loyal to the lady who loved God and who I believe would have taught her about God. Now, there's so much that we can draw from this, but I want to highlight two main points. The first one being that Ruth was willing to leave everything that she knew, her family, her people, her traditions, her customs, whatever came with that, to go into a foreign land, to foreign people, because of a truth that she took hold of, because she saw through Naomi the true living God, and she abandoned all that she knew to go into an uncertain future because of the living God. And I look at my own life and I challenge us all to look at our lives and say, what is God asking us to abandon and leave behind to go into a fruitful life with him? Because there will always be things that we need to toss off so that we can take hold of what he has for us. The second point that I want to make is later in the story there's this very interesting part where Ruth meets a man called Boaz, where she's collecting food, and Naomi gives her some guidance as to how to initiate a relationship with Boaz. And it's a very interesting piece of scripture. And basically Ruth proposes to Boaz, and Naomi gives her the instructions on what to do and how to go about it. And it's a real leap of faith, because it seems very strange to me, the advice that Naomi gives Ruth. But we know that Naomi was a God-fearing woman, and we know that Ruth admired her and respected her and was humble enough to take heed of her advice and to do as she had instructed. And I suppose the challenge to us is, are we placing, or are we listening to the advice of older, wiser people that have gone before us that love God? And are we inviting their perspective into our lives? It seems so strange that Ruth would just listen to Naomi and do exactly what she said, but if I think about the women in my life who have journeyed much longer with God than I have, if they gave me a piece of advice, I would follow it even if I didn't fully understand, because I respect their faith and I respect them and the journey that they've had with God. And I think it's the exact same thing here. Ruth respected Naomi, and she saw in her a love for God and a wisdom that came from God. And I suppose that's the challenge to us. God has placed these wiser older people in our lives to speak truth into our lives so that we can live fruitful, rich lives.